Hi everyone, it's Megan from the Delaware County District Library. I want to show you today how to do a couple of quick sewing jobs. So to do this project, you'll need some thread. I've just got my little spool of various color threads. You're gonna need a needle. Some of you may choose to use a thimble. And you will need some scissors. These little ones are great little snips, but you can use whatever you have laying around to cut the thread when you're done. So for instance, I've got a shirt here that one of the seams ripped out. I've got my thread. I'm gonna do about, I don't know, what is that, 16 inches or so? Just to give myself an extra bit of it. Snip it! And the trickiest part, threading the needle. So here you can do the trick of tying it on, just putting a couple of knots here to actually tie it on the end. Honestly, I do this, but it seems like every 3 or 4 stitches, both knots come out anyway. Another option is to make the thread double. So you can get both ends, the needle's on that end, and knot it here. Just did a quick double knot there. Do one more. Okay, so not as much thread as I hoped, but so we've got the hole here. This is the inside of the shirt, and we've got both pieces pressed together. You can put a pin in if it's too long. So you've got your needle, you've got both pieces of fabric together. Alright, I've gone all the way through, and you can choose to actually go back through it opposite. And actually, you know what, I am going to do that because it looks like I've got enough thread. So there's a space here on this side. So I've got space, stitch, space, stitch. I'm going to make another stitch, but from the opposite side. Probably not going to come through exactly where it needs to be, but that's okay. This is the inside of the shirt. Nobody cares. So yeah, then we've got another space there, and this is going to create another stitch. I've got, this is where I first pulled the thread through, the big old knot that we made at the beginning. And here's the rest of my thread. So we've gone back and forth both sides. It's gonna be easier if we actually put this back through. So pick a space, a couple of millimeters out maybe, just so that you don't pull your thread back through accidentally. There we go. Now we've got both ends on the same side. Alright, so I'm going to leave the needle on because I feel like it makes it easier for me to tie. And you actually want to do a square knot, which is going to hold the best. Don't cut it off too close. That's probably almost a centimeter, just in case. All right, we've got back and forth stitch crossed. Let's see how it holds. Not bad. It's not bunched or anything, and hopefully that'll hold just as long as the rest of it does. So you've got your loose button. You've got the fabric that it came off of. So this is double thick. I think it's a linen. It doesn't really matter what it is. You can put it through jeans. It's pretty easy. Okay, so we've got the fabric. We've got the button. Normally you want to use something that matches like the same color of whatever string was already on the button, but I'm going to use black just so that it stands out a little bit more. So we need to thread our needle, and boop, there we go. I'm going to just knot it. And you want to do this, I don't know, 10 times. Depends on how much you want to hold your button on. I mean, how thick your thread is, how heavy the button is. If you've got another button to look at that's still sewn on your pants or whatever you're sewing it onto, take a look and compare. So you want to end with both threads on the same side, ideally the back of the fabric. That way you don't have the goofy knot hanging out the front. Alright, and knot this. Normally I would do the other side next, but I ran out of thread. Okay, so here's the other option. You can knot it. And the easiest way is to literally just wrap it around the loop and not try to line them up every time. And you want to go to the back side and kind of guess where the hole is. Hey, I got it on the first try. Yay! And see that knot holds. So you want to go back and forth like we did for the last part of it. The other direction. We're gonna knot it. And give it a little bit of space, snip it off, and we've got a button that's attached.
Alright, up next I'm going to show you how to sew on a patch. You're going to need about 12 inches or so of thread or more. It all depends on the size of patch that you're going to be sewing on. So go ahead and thread your needle. And I'm going to double the thread like I've done previously. So you're gonna have your needle at one end and then just knot both ends together a few times to give a good sized knot at the end so that it doesn't pull through both the fabric and the patch. All right, so we're gonna put my patch there. And it's gonna start from the back, so just put your needle and your thread through, pull everything through, and the knot will stop it. And then put it through your patch. And then you're just gonna go back and forth through both the patch and the whatever you're sewing it onto. It may be helpful if you use some straight pins to hold everything in place. That way you know you're actually sewing your patch to where you want it to be. Alright, and go back and forth. Normally I would use thread that matches whatever the base is, but I'm using a bright yellow thread so that you can see where exactly I'm sewing. Alright, and after you've stitched all the way around, the last thing you'll have to do is tie it together. Tie the strings on the ends.